Hi guys, welcome to the Halloween tea party where I'm going to attempt to do 31 different looks for the 31 days of Halloween. We're kicking things off with a classic, the Bride of Frankenstein, and this is a drugstore look, so you should be able to complete this with the things that you find lurking around in your makeup bag. To start out, I'm using a green colour corrector just to correct any red patches on my face, and an orange colour corrector to cancel out my under eye dark circles, and I'm blending those out slightly. Then I'm taking a concealer and going over all those coloured patches and blending that out. I'm going to be using a light coverage foundation, so we really don't want all this correction to show through it. For the foundation, I'm using a light foundation that is a couple of shades lighter than my natural skin to give me that nice ashy look. I find it works better to use a light coverage one when you're going for kind of dead and ashy. If you don't have any light coverage foundation, then you can mix some foundation with a bit of moisturizer, and that kind of creates a light coverage foundation. So I'm just applying that all over my face with a damp makeup sponge and making sure to really get those areas where the highlighter is so that that is not shining like a neon light off of my face. Then I'm just powdering everything with a translucent powder. For the contour, I'm using a cool toned brown eyeshadow, and I'm going very lightly with the contour just to add some dimension back into the face. To help get that light application, I'm tapping off the brush before I apply it so there's not too much product on there. And I like to squeeze the bristles of the contour brush to lay down the line where I want the contour to be and then blend everything out. It was looking a little bit intense, so I went in with a powder brush and just buffed it out a bit. You could always use a face powder to lighten it up as well if you've gone a bit too intense. I'm applying that contour to the hollows of my cheeks and my temples. For the highlight, I didn't want to go with anything shimmery because this is not a Twilight Bride of Frankenstein. So I'm using a super light face powder and just dusting that along the tops of my cheeks. You guys, of course, can do whatever you want. You can go shimmery, you can go more intense, like go crazy, it's Halloween. How can I have this many eye pencils and not have the color that I want? Ideally, I wanted a nice deep burgundy shade, but seeing as I don't have one, I'm going to use the next best thing, 2 shades mixed together. I'm starting out with the purple liner and drawing dashed lines wherever I want the splits to be. And the reason they're dashed is so that we can put the stitches in between the spaces between the dashes. You don't want to make these too small because we're going to be shading around these, and if it's too small it's just a nightmare to kind of get into each one and shade it. Once I've got the purple down, I'm going back in very lightly to each dash with a black liner just to darken them up a bit. Then I discovered that I don't have a decent reddish purple deep eyeshadow either, so I'm mixing together a red and a purple to get the kind of colour I want. I'm taking a tiny paintbrush and dipping it in the red and the purple and then going around each dash, and I'm leaving space between the dash itself and where I'm putting down the red colour because that's going to help make it look like it's a bit swollen and irritated. And I'm only going around the outside of each dash. I'm not going in between them. I'm leaving that space blank. Then I'm taking a blending brush and blending that outwards away from the dash because we want to keep that nice clear line in between the dash and the red. And I'm not blending it too much because I still want the red to be most intense closest to the dash. Once all the swelling's done, I'm going in with a black felt tip liner and adding all the stitches, and I'm alternating between straight stitches and cross stitches and making some of them curved, some of them flat, so there's just some variety so it looks like, you know, it's kind of done in a rush. The stitches, not the makeup, obviously. I'm trying to bring most of the stitches out a bit further than the most intense part of the swelling, so that when we add the swelling around this, it doesn't all get lost into the swelling that's already there. For the swelling around the ends of the stitches, it's pretty much the same thing as what we did with the dashes. So I'm taking my tiny little brush and some red and purple eyeshadow and then doing a little half moon around each end of every single stitch. And make sure to leave some space between the swelling and the stitch itself so that it looks nice and raised. Once those are down, I'm going back in with my blending brush and blending those out a bit away from the stitches. To make the raised area around the ends of the stitches look a bit more dramatic, I'm going in with a white eyeshadow on a clean, tiny brush and just filling in those half moons around the end of each stitch with some white eyeshadow. You could do this around the dashes as well if you want to give them a bit more drama too. Then to give the stitches some entry points, I'm taking a black kohl liner, and you might have to keep sharpening it while you do this. I think I sharpened mine like 4 or 5 times while I was doing this. But if you press it down on the edge of the stitch and then twist it, it should leave a really nice little circle-shaped entry point on the end of your stitch. Then I wasn't really feeling the cut dash things. They felt a little bit dark and not cuttish enough, so I decided to go in with a red liner on top of that black and purple just to kind of redden them up a little bit. For the lips, I'm going for a matte dark brick shade. I kind of wanted to go for the scarlet lip, smoky eye, full-on drama with this look, but I thought it might be a bit overwhelming, so I figured a neutral eye with a dark lip would give it a really nice balance. If you decide to go full-on drama with this look, I would love to see how it turns out because there's still part of me that's convinced that it would just look amazing. For my brows, I'm using a charcoal eyebrow pencil. And I'm not doing anything too fancy with my brows, I'm just filling them out a little bit where they look a little bit sparse. And, trying to make them look a little bit more like twins. For the eyes, I decided to go with something quite simple so that the look didn't get too busy. I'm starting out by applying a cream eyeshadow all over my lids as a base. Then I'm taking a packing brush and packing on a nude eyeshadow just so that it's not too sticky. Then I'm taking that same nude eyeshadow and a fluffier brush and just applying that all over up to my brow line. Then I'm taking the same shade I used for my contour, a coolish brown shade, and I'm using that for my crease. Then I'm taking the fluffy brush and blending that out up towards my brow, not too high, this isn't a super dramatic eye. And I'm blending it out along the crease as well because I don't want this to be a really harsh cut crease or anything, it's supposed to be quite a soft eye look. I'm using a tiny bit of black shadow in the outer third of my crease just to intensify it there a little bit. And I'm blending that out really, really well and dragging it in slightly onto my outer corners. For the liner, I'm using the same black felt tip liner that we used for the stitches, and I'm doing a thin line across my lash line that goes about 2/3 of the way across. So I'm leaving the inner corner of my lash line with no liner on it, and I'm doing a small wing on the outer corner. I'm adding a little bit of mascara to the top lashes and the outer third of the bottom lashes. And then I'm applying some lashes, and these are just some quite natural looking lashes. They just kind of enhance what's already there instead of, taking over your face like furry little creatures. For the lower lash line, I'm taking the shade I used in my crease, the brown shade, adding that to about the outer 2/3 of my lower lash line and blending it out. Then I'm going back in with the black and putting that on the outer third, but keeping it much tighter to the lash line and blending that out. To make my eyes look bigger, I'm using a white liner on the waterline. To get the traditional Bride of Frankenstein giant beehive thing, I'm using a big donut bun thing, sectioning out a small amount of hair on the top of my head, just enough hair to really hold that donut in place, threading it through the middle and wrapping a hairband around it. I'm taking the front section of my hair. I probably should have started with the back section, but the retrospectoscope is a wonderful thing. And I'm basically just laying it over the top of the donut bun and pinning it at the base of the bun. Then I'm doing the same thing with the back and the side so that everything is kind of pinned around this donut bun, and hopefully you should end up with some kind of messy looking beehive. To make everything look a bit neater and the beehive to look higher, I'm hairspraying down the sides of my hair so that they look really nice and flat, and you can pin those at the back if you want to get them really nice and flat against your head. For the white streaks in the hair, I'm taking a white eyeshadow base and painting that onto the patches of hair that I want to be white. And that's it, guys. You are now the Bride of Frankenstein. I hope you liked this look and this video. I hope this was helpful to someone out there. If you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you. There should be another one going up tomorrow, so if you want to be notified when that goes live, then you can hit the subscribe button. And if you like this look, then you can let me know by hitting the like button. If you decide to recreate this look, I would love to see how it turns out. If you post it to Instagram or Twitter, then you can tag me in the looks and use the hashtag Halloween Tea Party, and then I will see it. I'm also having a Halloween inspired competition over on my Instagram. To enter, you can post one of your own Halloween looks, hashtag it with Halloween Tea Party Comp, and tag me in the look. The full rules and everything are over on my Instagram on the flyer post thing. And in case this wasn't quite what you were looking for, here are some other looks that you can try out. If you're wearing this out for Halloween, I hope you have an absolutely amazing time. And I will see you all tomorrow.